Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. In a tweet on Saturday, Iraq's Prime Minister Mustafa al-Kadhimi announced that the 6th of March will become the National Day of Tolerance and Coexistence in Iraq. The announcement came after Pope Francis's meeting with Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani, which Cardinal Miguel Ayuso has praised as an historic encounter. On the second day of his apostolic journey to Iraq, Pope Francis travelled to the Ur of the Chaldeans, the birthplace of three major religions, Islam, Christianity and Judaism. His meeting there was billed as the high point of his efforts to promote interreligious dialogue and fraternity in the Middle Eastern nation. Returning to Ur, the birthplace of Abraham, "We seem to have returned home," added the Pope. He was speaking at a venue set up next to what tradition holds was Abraham's house, near the great ziggurat of Ur. It was here that Abraham heard God's call. It was from here that he set out on a journey that would change history. We are the fruits of that call and that journey. The Pope went on to note that God asked Abraham to count the stars and promised the patriarch that his descendants would be as numerous. He saw us. Receiving the head of the Roman Catholic Church at his home in the holy city of Najaf, Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani said Christians should be able to live in peace and security like all other Iraqis. The meeting was seen as a highly symbolic moment in the Pope's visit, which is his first international trip since the start of the coronavirus pandemic more than a year ago, and the first ever papal visit to Iraq. The curve on the graph of the coronavirus infections is rising. For another day, the number of new cases was around 15,000. The Ministry of Health has published another report. Since March last year, over 1,780,000 people have contracted the coronavirus in Poland. In the last 24 hours, more than 62,000 tests have been performed. In the same period, 245 people have died of COVID-19, including 189 with existing comorbidities. So far, the number of terminal cases is 45,159. 3,900,665 doses of coronavirus vaccines have been administered. 2,488,649 people received their first dose and 1,412,741 have been fully vaccinated with 2 doses. Polish is considered one of the most difficult languages in the world. One might argue about this, but the question is whether Poland, which never had colonies or slaves of any colour, or which never used other nations to become rich, should adopt fashionable anti-racist attitudes known, for example, from the English language. The burning issue is associated with the word Murzyn, which in Polish derives from the word Maur and has no negative associations. Meanwhile, the Polish left wants to ban the use of this term. The Council of the Polish Language decided this week that the word Murzyn should no longer be used. The echoes are still rumbling after Professor Marek Łaziński of Warsaw University said that the Polish word Murzyn brings negative character and bad associations. Subsequently, the Polish Language Council advised against usage of this term. Consequently, some of the best Polish literature would also be cancelled, such as the 1912 book In Desert and Wilderness by Henryk Sienkiewicz. It tells the story of a brave Polish teenager who is experiencing a wild trip in Africa riven by the Mahdi uprising. Such was the demand expressed by the influential politician of the left, Maciej Gdula. He thinks that the book poisons children and evokes negative emotions. In the same breath, he defended his rights to offend Christians. The rainbow does not refer to anything that could be offensive or degrading. It is a symbol of love and respect. The number of people offended or not has nothing to do with it. There are many indications that the left applies double standards, and its absurdities are reaching their apogee. The left has no sacred symbols, so it does not understand the pain that is caused to believers, for example, by profaning the image of Our Lady of Jasna Góra. Everyone has their own racism. Perhaps for classically understood racists, black people are some inferior population that does not deserve respect. And for the left, Catholics are very often in the same group. Professor Marek Łaziński believes that after the 1980s the word Murzyn changed its meaning. Therefore, he suggests limiting the use of this word in public communication. According to the sociologist Dr. Krzysztof Karnowski, the word Murzyn is still neutral, and subsequent replacements of the word may only increase the scale of the problem with time. Such things speed up a lot. This neutral term today will also become offensive, and we will have to look for another one. The Polish Language Council's job is to maintain the language rules. This body has a consultative role. By the way, the last time I checked, the derogatory term used in the Polish language to describe a black person is czarnuch. 5 people were killed and several dozen injured when a coach travelling to Ukraine on the A4 motorway crashed near Yarosław in southeast Poland. Around midnight, the vehicle came off the road, broke through the barriers and fell into a ditch. The cause of the crash is unknown. The injured passengers are Ukrainians who were travelling from Poznan to Kherson. There were 57 people on the bus, including 2 drivers who were sober. One of them is in a serious condition. Over 100 firefighters took part in the rescue operation. According to the police, it is too early to talk about the causes of the accident. The most injured were those who did not have their seatbelts fastened. Officers identified most of the fatalities, and the injured were taken to nearby hospitals. 14 people are in a serious condition. President Andrzej Duda and Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki offered their condolences to the families of the victims. That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, Poland Daily Business and more programmes. But from me, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.